Thank you, John. Welcome, everyone. How y'all doing this morning? Woo-woo! All right, happy to have you. Now, before we kick off with some of our content and I give my little spiel here, I do have to kind of set the record straight because I feel like there was a false narrative taking shape on stage here. John tried to present to you all and convince you that he had all of these different clothing options, and I just want to be clear. That is the only collared shirt that man owns. The rest of his wardrobe is MediaPost event t-shirts, which he keeps in a steady rotation. You probably have, what, 200 of those at this point?
I'll be making a quilt.
Yeah.
You'll all get a quilt.
All right, well, cool. I hope everyone had really safe travels in. I hope you had a great time at the cocktail party last night, and there's really no excuse. You should all be here with a nice, rich 8 hours of sleep and rest, ready to go and enjoy the content that we have in store. I am so excited to spend these next couple of days with you all. But first, I want to start with a small confession. I am not, by trade, a digital out-of-home planner. Most of my career, as John alluded to, brand side, was spent in the e-com and CRM spaces. And I did buy and plan media a little bit, but that was like a decade ago, and it was mostly helping some hotels with some basic site traffic retargeting. So in my research for this summit, and as I started having some initial conversations, in fact with many of you all in the room, earlier this year, I started to come to an assumption. I assumed that this space was figured out. Y'all have had about 2 decades now, I think, since the original digital out-of-home inventory first hit the market. And so looking at these capabilities as an outside marketer started to look like a pretty complete picture. They resemble a channel at maturity. You have contextual targeting, you've got all these programmatic levers, you have diversity of inventory, and in fact, you have the scale and the availability of that inventory. Your integrations are plentiful, reporting is pretty well established, and in fact, this is a very well differentiated channel. All of that building towards this large body of work that you can reference and build on as you're navigating your campaigns. Okay, so if that's all potentially true, why am I excited for this summit? Well, in addition to the shenanigans and stand-up routines of these two gentlemen over here, of which you will get many of over the coming days, you're also going to find that there's a fundamental flaw in my assumption. Yes, the capabilities of this space are mature, but the utilization of this channel is not. And as I talk to many of the folks in this room, y'all are hungry. You're hungry for the spend and adoption to finally match the untapped potential of this channel and of the inventory. So that excitement, that gets me energized. Y'all want this to be more than what it is and to really take the full bear of what it could become. But there's also kind of a great irony at play here, right? There is this channel that commands so much attention. That's why we love it. It's why my LinkedIn gets blown up with photos whenever a brand drops some exciting new 3D popping off the screen creative that literally stops people in their tracks. And by the way, you're going to get a lot of those creative examples from Christy Hummel tomorrow in her presentation. But this is real. It's digital, yes, but it's physical in a way that a 728 by 90 banner on my phone is not. That leaves an impression. And as you'll hear this week, it also incites and evokes action up and down the funnel, if you still believe in the funnel, bear with me there. But it commands such attention from customers. So why does it not always receive that same amount of attention in our marketing mixes? How do we shift that narrative? How do we make our campaigns work harder and showcase that performance? What does it look like when digital out-of-home moves from being the add-on to a media plan to being the main course? Let's get into that. As a reminder, everything that we say and do on stage today is recorded and on the record. A core element of what we do here at MediaPost is journalism. It's providing that platform to showcase and highlight the great work that the marketers in this room and the planners in this room are doing day in and day out. But it's also the off-the-record conversations where some of the most enriching dialogue happens. So at noon, we do cut the cameras, kill the live stream, and we move into our roundtables. These are some of people's favorite parts of our summits. They're off the record, small group, and you can really dig in deeper to some of the conversations that you heard about on stage. Okay, what's in store for you all? You're going to hear from a panel of media pros about how to shift your digital out-of-home campaigns from the upper funnel into a powerful driver of performance, how to leverage data and emerging capabilities to drive conversion. You're going to hear from Valentina Barral, Senior Brand Media Strategy Manager. You've got a lot of words in that title. We got to work on that. It's actually one of the round tables. We'll be workshopping that, an editing exercise at Nutribullet on how you leverage high mobility placements to take over the streets of New York and capture attention in one of the most advertising saturated cityscapes. And you're going to hear from Denise Cherry, VP of Marketing at Rivian, about the automaker's reimagined approach to storytelling. From pulling cinematic customer stories into their pop-up retail spaces to unlocking digital Halloween costumes for their vehicles, this physical meets digital blend is like so inherently reflective of the automaker, quite literally their own product, but it's also this compelling twist on creative. All right. But first, as you settle in, you finish your coffee, I want you all to close your eyes, and I want you to think of your favorite rodents. American culture is surprisingly full of them. There's Mickey and Minnie, Stuart Little, Remy from Ratatouille, Jerry. I'm sure you all have more of your own favorites. But if you're from my millennial generation, and you were a kid gearing up to have the best birthday party ever, there's only one Charles Entertainment Cheese. Now, while Chuck E. Cheese, that's his government name, by the way, you can look that up. Now, while Chuck E. Cheese had its heyday back in my day, coming out of the pandemic, it was challenged. Its assets were maybe a little bit dated. It needed to reignite the brand for a new generation. And look, I can't think of a better way to kick off this summit, having posed this question of what it looks like when digital out-of-home takes that center stage, than with a story of brand transformation that built its campaign around this channel, a story of recapturing attention. Because at its core, isn't this what digital out-of-home is really poised to deliver? It's real, it's credible, and it drives results. And when you pair great creative with smart contextual buys and high impact inventory, well, that's going to be one heck of a party. But all right, here to share how Chuck E. Cheese launched its comeback tour, bridging all new product and in-store experiences with a massive digital out-of-home effort, please welcome our opening keynote, David McKillips, President and CEO of CEC Entertainment. Welcome, David.